Okay, I've got 7:05 on my clock here, so I don't want you guys to lose out on a full hour of training. So if other people join as we're going along here, they will just have to catch up. Well, welcome everybody. Nice to see a small group here. I knew I took a risk scheduling something on Valentine's Day for training wise, but I didn't want to have two trainings 2 nights in a row. A little tough to do that. So these are my only options for this week. So tonight we're going to do a PowerPoint session. I'll talk more about that in a second. And then on Thursday night at the same time, at 7 o'clock on Thursday, we're going to be talking about OneNote. And hopefully you all have seen the Facebook invitations for those. And feel free to have some friends join and so on and so forth. Just get the information from the Facebook invite. And depending on how these go this week and the next couple weeks, I may just continue to do this going on. So please give me your suggestions for classes. Again, you can just direct message me or email that information. So tonight, what we want to do for this hour that we've got together is talk about a specific topic within PowerPoint. And this is actually part of a series that I used to do at my previous job that I called Producing Presentations. And what this 3-part series was about was everything except creating content on your slides. Part 1 is the one that we'll look at tonight, which is the things that you would do before you even start to create slides and content in a PowerPoint. The second part of the production of the series talks about the things you should do as part of the wrap up. So once you've created your slides, what are some of those things that you would need to do with that? And then part 3 of the series was, okay, now I'm ready to give my presentation. What are some of the things I need to do as far as presenting and giving that presentation? Tonight, we're just going to do the designing and setting up a presentation. And again, the goal here for tonight, our agenda, let me get over to PowerPoint. There we go. Our agenda tonight is there are about 4 basic topics that we want to talk about. First, we want to talk about the difference between using a theme versus a template when we start something off in PowerPoint. Then we want to talk a little bit about the new themes versus the old themes. And that'll make more sense as we talk about it. But there's been some changes to how themes work in the newer versions of Office. Then we want to talk about using slide layouts and placeholders, and that once I'm ready to start adding slides to my presentation, what's the right way to do that? Where are the different layouts that are already available to me in PowerPoint? And then lastly, and this will probably be a good chunk of what we do tonight, and that is working with the slide masters and the layout masters. There is, often people wonder, well, where do those layouts come from? What guides everything in a PowerPoint? And that comes from something called a slide master and its various layout masters. So we'll talk about what those are and how you can manipulate those to change how your presentation looks. Okay? All right, so let's get started. So when you want to start creating a presentation, okay, you have basically 3 options to start creating a presentation. You can basically start with, a blank presentation that has absolutely no content whatsoever, no graphics, no nothing. Now, very few people actually start off that way. Generally, what we want to do is start off with something called a design theme or start off with a template. There is a difference between these. What's a design theme and what is a template? Unfortunately, Microsoft doesn't make it very easy to understand the difference between these, but I'm going to do my best to explain the difference of what's going on between a design theme as a starting point for your PowerPoint and a template as the starting point for your PowerPoint presentation. Let's give you a rundown, though, of what these different things are. So on this slide here, I'm talking about what's a theme and what's a template. The Microsoft Office design themes were introduced. It was a new feature introduced in Office 2007. And this is going to come up on another slide, and I'll reiterate it then. But the idea behind design themes is actually something that's not found just in PowerPoint. A design theme is actually something that can be used across all of Microsoft Office. So that includes Word, Excel, and PowerPoint primarily. And the idea behind a design theme is that you could create a PowerPoint and or a spreadsheet and or a Word document that all have similar colors, fonts, looks, and layouts, just like you would have produced by a professional publishing house. Okay? Makes it very easy to create a presentation that looks a lot like your annual report, that might go along with your company colors and logos, and it looks like it was produced professionally when really all you did was use a design theme. Okay? Oh, can you guys, am I broadcasting my screen? Yes, right? Yeah, okay. Just for a second there, it looked like it wasn't broadcasting my screen. Everybody can see my slides, right? Somebody want to type yes in the chat window? I suppose somebody would have by this point if you didn't. Yep, okay, just making sure, thank you. I panicked for a second, I didn't see something on my end. Okay, so a theme, what does it contain? A design theme has the following elements, and this is what we see on the left-hand side of the slide. A design theme is a file that contains the following definitions, and it has basically backgrounds and styles. It has a color scheme, a set of colors to use, a font scheme, which is basically a set of fonts to use in the document, an effects scheme for any graphics that you would have in the document or whatever you're creating. If it's a PowerPoint that you're using the theme in, it will also contain some slide layouts. Now, here's the main thing about a design theme, though. It doesn't have any content, which means there's no pre-made slides. There's no, here's an agenda slide, here's a bullet slide. You know, there's no content. It's all about the formatting and how's it gonna look. So there's nothing there's nothing filled out for you when you use a design theme. Okay, and just for your own reference, design themes have a file extension of .thmx. Okay, now a template is something that actually has content, where if I open up a template, and you've seen these in Word and Excel as well, you know, an invoice template or a resume template. In those cases, a template does have content. If I open up a PowerPoint template, I would expect to see maybe a set of slides already in the template that I just have to plug in information and fill it out, okay? So templates usually have some number of pre-made slides, could be anywhere from 1 to 100, who knows, depends on the template. Those slides might have content already written on them. Maybe they've got some graphics, who knows. There could be a lot of things that could possibly be in there. Okay, now the template could possibly contain or use a theme. Okay, these aren't mutually exclusive. I can have a template and also use one of the Microsoft Office design themes. Okay, so you may open up a template and it may use one of the built-in themes along with that template. Generally speaking, and this is not a rule, but generally speaking, the focus in a template is on the content of the slides so that you've got pre-made content rather than, you know, what's all my formatting. And templates will generally have the .potx extension, or they might just be a regular old PowerPoint that you just open it up and you're kind of reusing it over and over, and it may just have the PPTX extension. Okay, so when you want to start off a PowerPoint, you need to decide, do I want to use a theme or do I need to use a template? Personally, I'm not a big fan of templates, but that's probably more because I've used PowerPoint enough that I don't need somebody to hold my hand for filling out slides. So I'm very comfortable just using a theme as my starting point. Okay. All right, so when you first start up PowerPoint, 2013 or 2016, you are presented a limited set of design themes to start your presentation. So let me switch windows here. And this, now again, for those of you who didn't attend last week's session, I'm using Office 2016. A lot of what I'm demonstrating also works in 2013 and in 2010. Just some things may be in different locations, but pretty much everything I'm talking about tonight is standard across the applications. However, what you're looking at here as far as PowerPoint is unique to 2013 and 2016. So when I do start up PowerPoint, you'll notice that I am presented with some options here that I can start my presentation. And this is a selection of the design themes that are in the product. And they've got their names here like Quotable, Savon, Dividend, and so on and so forth. I can scroll down this list and see that there are there's about 25 or so listed here. And these, again, are all design themes that are initially being displayed. Okay. All right. So when you start a PowerPoint, you're first presented a limited set of design themes to start your presentation. Now, you may have more themes, and we'll talk in a few minutes about how you can install some of the old ones. If you want to get or use a theme that you don't see here, if you're looking here and I'm like, well, I don't see the theme that I want, you can always just say, hey, I'm going to do a blank presentation, then get in there and I'll show you how you can access the rest of your themes, especially if you've got or have installed any custom themes. I'll talk about that. Now, the other thing that you can do from this opening screen is that you can also just search for a template. If you'll notice up here at the top, there's this section here that says search online for templates or themes. Maybe I want to create a business agenda. Okay, and I can put that into my search. It's going to search thousands of online templates and themes, and you're just going to get tons of possibilities here to create your presentation. Now, the tricky thing here with these results is that these templates may only just have one slide. They may not have very much content. Some of them, the quality is kind of questionable because it's contributed by different companies other than Microsoft. So you may have to do a little bit of trial and error here with these possible templates that you're finding. Good Lord, I couldn't find my words there. All right, but you can see I've got a variety of options here. If I don't like any of these, I can always just go back. All right, and I can start from here. Okay, so you can access additional design themes on the ribbon in the theme gallery. You can search for templates from the start screen. Now, here's the thing, as I kind of mentioned earlier. Unfortunately, when we're using this screen right here, and if I'm doing a search, let's say product demonstration, okay, when I get my results, unfortunately, oh, well, I didn't like that. Sales presentation. Let's try that. Unfortunately, when these results come back, the Microsoft isn't good about telling you which ones are themes and which ones are templates. Most of these are templates, but some of these may just be themes that don't have a lot of content in them. Again, you're just going to have to go by trial and error. The other thing to keep in mind, though, is even if it's a template, you can always switch the theme that's being used. Remember, these things are not mutually exclusive. A template can incorporate a theme, right? Now, but a theme's not going to have a template. Yeah, that's just kind of the way it works. All right? All right. So let's say I did want to start my presentation, and I'm looking at these themes here, and I'm like, well, none of these are the ones that I want. So I could just say, you know what, give me a blank presentation, and it's going to take me here into PowerPoint. And if I actually want to go into where all the rest of my themes are, so right now I've got a blank here, I can go to the Design tab, and then on the Design tab of PowerPoint, there is a Themes gallery. My mouse keeps disappearing. This is really annoying, making my life a little difficult here. Now, when I go to the theme gallery, if you look at the bottom right-hand corner of that theme gallery, there's a little drop-down arrow, and I can click that. There it goes. And now I can see all of the themes that I've got installed. And as you can see, I am a total theme hoarder. I'll talk about that in a few minutes. So you can see here, I've got this whole section here called Custom. That's built in by PowerPoint, and you can see I've got tons of built-in tons of themes I've found in other places. Then in this section called Office, these are the themes that actually are built into the product. In Office 2013 and in Office 2016, there are 34 or 35 built-in themes that come with the product. Okay. And then you can see I've got a whole bunch of ones here up in the custom section. And then basically from here, I can pick any of these themes. I just made that gallery bigger. I can go through here and say, you know, I want to use, what's this one? Yamato painting or whatever. Okay. All right. Now, something new that was introduced in Office. Oh, wait a minute. Let me check my slides here. I want to make sure I get ahead of myself. Okay, so let's talk about themes here a little bit more. So the design themes, as I mentioned earlier, were introduced in Office 2007 as a way to create different types of documents, including Word, Excel, and PowerPoint, so that they all have similar fonts, colors, layouts, effects, blah, 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 so that they all kind of have a professional and consistent look across the content that you're producing, okay? Now, in Office, so the themes were in 2007, the themes were in 2010, but in Office 2013, Microsoft made a slight change to how themes work, specifically for PowerPoint. And what they did is they added support for something called theme variations. I feel like we're getting into musical terms here, right? Theme and variations. Basically now, a theme, okay, in PowerPoint may have up to 16 different variants or variations. If I come back over here into Office, again, I'm using Office 2016 here. When I'm looking at the newer themes, for instance, let me pick this one here called Facet. Okay, if I pick that, if you'll notice now next to that, there's an additional gallery here called Variants. So Facet is not only possibly this green background, but Facet has 4 variations, and it could be green, it could be blue, it could be pink, or it could be this. It could be this dark, completely reverse. Okay, here's another example, integral. This one happens to have, I believe this one's got 8 different this has 8 different variations. In this case, it's not just a change in colors, it's a change in the pattern. So here is variant 1. Here's the next variant. It's this kind of green. These all look like grandma's wallpaper or something. Here's a very basic looking one, reverse. You know, there's a lot of variations within the theme, okay? I've seen usually either 4 or 8. I understand that the variations can be up to 16, but I've not seen any themes that do that many. Okay, so the newer themes in the newer products, so in Office 2013 and 16, have a theme that comes with up to 16 variations. The older themes from the earlier versions of Office do not have variations. If you pick it, so in my case, a lot of those are in this section here called Custom. If I select this one called Banded, nope, that was a bad choice. Let me pick one I know that doesn't have any variations. I got to clean these up. I think Kilter's a good one. Okay, here's an example. This one's from previous versions of Office. This one's called Kilter. It's kind of fun. But if you look, there's no variants because it's an older version file. All right. All right, so let's see, my slides here, old themes. Now, here's the cool thing, is that yes, all the themes from the earlier products are basically backwards compatible or forwards compatible. So if I'm using Office 2016, I can still use themes that were created in Office 2007. They're also cross-platform. So if you have the themes from Mac, because there are versions of Office for Mac and they're not always the same, you can also use those. Okay, now I'm going to give you a present here shortly. I'll talk about that. If you're going in the reverse direction, if you happen to be using Office 2007, oh please, I hope you're not, but some of you I know are still using 2010, you can use the newer themes, but you won't be able to access the variants of the theme. So if I was using Office 2010 and then tried to use the theme called Banded, I would only see the first variation. I wouldn't see the others. So the nice thing is that themes can basically work forwards and backwards compatible for the most part. Okay, so I've said this, themes work across platforms. They also work, basically across Mac and PC. Now, here's the deal. If you're like myself and you keep upgrading Office because, well, I'm a Microsoft trainer, I got to stay current. One of the annoying things is that when you install a new version of Office, you tend to lose all the old themes that the old version of the product has. It wipes out the directories and then you get the new themes. And I've never been a fan of that. I like to have all my old themes. Okay? So, I'll tell you, oops, I got ahead of myself. Oh, I didn't organize my slides well enough. So as I said, yeah, 2013 and 16 comes with 35 new built-in themes. So what have I done for you? If you call today and spend $9.99, no, not really. What I've done, because I'm a nerd, like this, I have collected all of the themes from all of versions of Office from 2007, 2010. There were some online resources and from Mac. And I've assembled a file that has 112 themes from other versions of Office. If you would like something beyond the 35 built-in themes in PowerPoint, you can download that file. That link is in your chat window. That's the OneDrive link. And if you look in the OneDrive, you're going to see a file there called PowerPoint Design Themes.zip. It's a big file. You can download it. When you unzip it, you're going to see 112 THMX files. And the way to install those is, I don't have time to go through that here. There's another file there called PowerPoint Design Themes Installation Guide. It's just a basic text file, and that'll tell you everything you need to know. You can either just unzip those files anywhere and double click on them and use them. If you want to truly install them, you just follow the procedure. It's a little tricky. Unfortunately, this is one of those features that Microsoft doesn't make easy to add stuff to it, for lack of a better way to talk about it. Okay? All right, so that's my present to you. You can benefit from my hoarding of other themes. So you can, if you don't like any of the ones that are built in, you can pick up the other 112. Just remember, themes don't contain content. The themes only define backgrounds, fonts, colors, effects, and layouts, okay? Which generally is what we wanted in PowerPoint in the first place. Okay, oops, wrong window, there we go. Okay, so let's get started here. I'm going to pick one of the newer themes because it's just more valuable that way. Let me go to let's go to here. I do not want to use Kilter. That's an old one. Oops. I happen to be a fan of this one, Facet. I do like this one. And instead of green, I happen to feel a little blue. Now, another thing you need to note about PowerPoint that they've added support for since Office 2013 is support for different size monitors. You'll notice right now my slide is being displayed as a widescreen slide. You can change this in Office. There's a button here that says slide size on the design tab. You can switch between a 4:3 and a 16:9. If you know for sure that you're displaying on a widescreen monitor or a widescreen projector, I would say use the widescreen format slides. If you're not sure, you probably want to go back and use the standard old 4.3 slides that we've been used to from PowerPoint for 100 years, only because a widescreen slide on a standard size screen gets a little squished. We all know that with our regular televisions. Okay? All right. So I've got my design theme that I've picked. I've selected one of the variants, and now I want to actually start creating some slides. Generally, you're always given, when you start off here, you're given a title slide, okay? And I can add more slides as I so choose. I don't necessarily have to use a title slide as my first slide if I don't want to do that. In PowerPoint, of course, we've got a button right here up at the top. If I click the drop down, there's something here where I can choose different types of slides. Now, what you see listed here, now you can access this same gallery two ways, is that at the bottom of the new slide button, I can click that and I can see a bunch of slide layouts, or I can go to the layout button here and see the gallery as well. Now, if I go to the layout button, and select something, that's going to change the current slide's layout. If I do want to do a new slide with something, I can pick that. Oops, what did I just do there? Something weird just happened on my monitor. There we go. All right. I can go to new slide and pick one of these layouts. Now, going back to talking about themes. At its basic level, there are always 9 slide layouts. Okay? Those are just built into PowerPoint, and every theme is going to have those. However, the person who creates the theme, if it's you or Microsoft, does have the choice to create additional layouts. So sometimes when you click on the new slide button, you may see more layouts in one theme than you do in another. Okay, so don't be surprised. So right now in this theme, in the facet theme, you can see I've got 14 choices here. Okay, I could create my own, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. All right, so right now I've got a basic slide with a layout. So let's talk about this. I've been talking about the slide layouts. Each design theme does come with a set of slide layouts. At a minimum, there are 9 built-in layouts in PowerPoint. Every theme is going to have those, unless they've somehow messed up and deleted them by accident. As I said, some themes may come with additional layouts. When I created design themes for my previous company, I added tons of these, and you'll see why. I'll talk about that in a minute. As far as layouts, I had somewhere upwards of like 24 different layouts in the design theme for my company. And you'll see why I like that in a minute. Okay, now these slide layouts, as we're looking at these, on this title slide, and let me add let's add a standard kind of title and content with a bulleted list, and let's do a third slide here. Okay, each of these layouts, okay, are made up of something called placeholders. Okay, and then when I look at the slide, I can see that on this title slide, there are 2 placeholders for a master title and a subtitle. On this slide, there is a title area up here, and then a basically what's called a content placeholder. Okay. On this one, I've got a title as well as 2 different content placeholders and 2 subtitles. Okay. These are all called placeholders, and they're basically put on your slide so you could place information in them. Okay. So it's kind of like a template. Stuff's already designed there for you. All right, so let me come back here. A slide layout is made up of placeholders, and these placeholders hold different types of content, whether it's text or a picture or a graph or smart art or a video file. They can all whatever. Some placeholders are versatile, and they can contain a variety of content. Okay, talk about that in a second. Some placeholders are designed to hold very specific types of content. Looking at this new presentation that I'm creating, when I look at this slide, it might be a little hard to see in the broadcast, but when I look at this placeholder right here, you'll notice it says click to add text because that's the thing that you do the most commonly. But when I look at the actual placeholder itself, I see a set of 6 buttons in the middle of the placeholder here in the middle. And I could actually put any content that I want there, okay? Oh, my mouse keeps disappearing. This is really annoying. Must have to do with the fact I'm recording. So if I didn't want, let me come back over to here. There we go. If I didn't want text, but I'd rather insert a table, I could hover over any of these icons that are kind of lightly showing in the middle, and instead in this placeholder, put a picture or a chart or a table. Okay, that's what these places. So this is the most common type of placeholder, and that it can hold text or any of these types of content down here. Pictures, online pictures, video, charts, smart art, and tables. Lots of different stuff. Okay. Now, here is one of my major pet peeves when I'm looking at people's PowerPoints. I'm telling you, I could probably make a living off of fixing people's PowerPoints. When you're creating your presentation, it's always better to use a slide layout with defined placeholders on it than to freeform it. Okay. People, a lot of times, they'll get into a presentation. They're like, well, I look at these layouts and none of them are really what I want. So I'm just going to go with this blank slide and I'm just going to start creating text boxes and throwing stuff on there. That should always be your last resort. Okay, you really should try to use the placeholders, the slide layouts that are already here, or if the layout that you need is not there, I'm going to show you where you can create your own layouts. Why would you want to do that? Because maybe that freeform layout that you're creating, you actually need several times in your presentation. And if you try to freeform it every time, it might not look consistent. As a matter of fact, it's probably going to look really darn sloppy. So instead of freeforming it here, you might want to create your own layout and then just reuse that layout, okay? I know some of you like to color outside the lines and be a bit more liberal. And you know what? There's a time and a place. But when it comes to making a professional looking presentation, My goodness, I cannot emphasize enough. Please don't get too creative when it comes to layouts or free-forming stuff, because it just looks sloppy. And by the way, because I'm thinking of it, the object in PowerPoint is not to cram as much information as you possibly can on one slide, okay? If you need to cram a lot of information onto something, write a Word document, okay? PowerPoint is supposed to be bullets and brief information. All right, I'll get off my soapbox right now. All right, so coming back over here. So it's always better to use a slide layout with defined placeholders than to try to free-form your own. Too much free-forming can equal messy or inconsistent slides. You know, if I try to create my own free-form on 2 different slides and I don't line it up just right, it's going to be really obvious. So it's better to create a layout. So if there isn't a slide layout that meets your needs, you can create your own layouts in the Slide Master view, and we'll talk about that. I don't want to get into Slide Masters just yet, but we'll do that shortly. So let's come back to my presentation here. Placeholders, the whole point of these placeholders is that I can click in them, type something. Okay, welcome to class. Okay, then I can come down here into this placeholder, and I can add text. Okay, let's see here. I'm just gonna do something simple like item 1, item 2. I can do my bulleted list. By the way, the quick way to indent your bulleted lists is to just press the tab key. So this is a sub item. If I need to go indent even more, this is another indent. This is another. Okay. If you want to go back up, just press Shift Tab. So there's some keyboard shortcuts for you to kind of keep your hands on the keyboard. So if you just need to indent, just press Tab. To outdent or go back out, press Shift Tab as you are creating your slide, or as you're typing your text. Okay. So in this case, because I started to type text, notice that those ghost icons that were in the middle of that content placeholder disappeared, because now basically this content placeholder is a bulleted list. But I could use that exact same layout. Let me go to this slide. Let me change its layout. Now notice here, this slide has a particular layout that's already here. And I'm like, well, I don't like that layout. Now I could add a new slide and then delete this one, but that's too many steps. All I need to do is change its layout. So if I click on layout and say, well, you know what, I'd rather have a title and content slide, just click it. Ta-da, we're done. Easy enough. Maybe on this one, this is a picture. All right, and let's just add a picture. Let's go to my Tron graphics here, and we'll just add this. Ta-da. All right, so there, I just added a picture. Easy enough. Now again, the goal here is I'm not going to get into a lot of stuff with creating slides. We're doing the setting up and designing. That's the point of this session. So I don't want to spend a whole lot of time teaching you how to create different things on slides. But I do want to emphasize that as you start to create your slides, please use the slide layouts and please use the placeholders that are already there. So that leads us into the next major section here of what we want to talk about, and that is the slide master and the layout masters. Where do those layouts come from, and what's the whole deal that's going on here? You know, when I look at this presentation that I'm creating, how is it that these bullets looks like blue triangles? Okay. What's the deal there? Where is that information coming from? Why is it using this particular font? Why does this heading look this color? All of that is defined somewhere, okay? Everything about this presentation is defined somewhere as far as that look and feel, and that is all defined under something called the slide master, okay? There are 2 masters. I know, insert your jokes here about no one can serve 2 masters, but in PowerPoint, we've got that. But basically in PowerPoint, there are 2 masters that determine how the slides in a presentation look. First off, there is something called the slide master, and then subservient to those are something called the layout masters. All right, we're going to talk about both of these and how to get there. So what is the slide master? That is really our most important governing slide in a presentation. All right, the slide master is a secret slide. It's a hidden slide. Well, it's not that hard to find. But a slide master is a slide that basically defines for all slides, what does the text and bullet formatting look like? So what font are we using? What size is that font going to be? What color might that font be? What bullets are we using? What shapes are they? What colors? All that business is defined on that slide master. What does the background and graphics look like? Okay, it's no, that's got to be defined somewhere. So that's defined on the slide master. And the location of the footers, page number, and date sections are also determined by the slide master. Okay, so everything on a slide master appears on all the layout masters. I'll talk about that. All right, so let's get there. So I'm going to go to this presentation that I've been working on, and I'm going to go up to the View tab. And under the View tab, right here in this section, there is a button here called Slide Master. There's also some ones here called Handout Master and Notes Master. I don't have time to talk about those. So let's go to Slide Master. Here we are now in something called the Slide Master view, and I get a whole new tab on the ribbon at the beginning here called Slide Master. And there's a new panel over here on the left, okay? And what I'm looking at is the Slide Master and all of the layout masters that are in this presentation. Now, if you look at this very carefully, you'll notice that the one at the top is bigger than all of the others, and there's these dotted lines that show the kind of the subservient relationship that these things have, okay? This top one here is the slide master. However things look on here is going to determine the look on all of the sub slides. Remember, we said there's a bunch of different layouts here. Well, where are those coming from? Well, they're all here. Here's the title. Here's what a title slide looks like. Here is that content slide that we were just playing with earlier. Here's yet another slide. But if you notice on all of these layout slides, a lot of them do have bulleted lists. Now, it would be a lot of work to go from slide to slide to slide to slide and redefine these bulleted lists every time with the fonts, the colors, the bullets, the bullet colors, the shapes, the blah, 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 blah. So the slide master, this top slide here, anything I do to this is going to change on all of the layout masters where these similar placeholders are used. Okay, so on the slide master, you see here is the title, here is what the bulleted lists are supposed to look like, and then here's the footer text, date, and page number. If I change the formatting of any of this here, it's going to change on all of the layout masters. And then furthermore, any slides in the real presentation that use these layouts are also going to change. So let's see this in action. So under the click to edit master title style, let me just do something simple. I'm just going to highlight this. And here I'm just going to do like regular formatting like we normally would. And I'm going to change this to red. So it's really very obvious. Okay. Now, when I change the slide master, notice this is in red here. I know it's kind of hard to see on the broadcast, so I'll show you the slides. But look here. This slide has changed. These layout masters have changed. So this one's now in red. This one's now in red. Look at that. I didn't have to change all the layout masters individually. They changed on their own any place that the certain placeholders are being used. All right. It's a cascading relationship or a parent-child relationship here. All right. Same thing with the bulleted lists here, just to show you, okay, right now these are all using triangles and they're all blue. And again, any slide, any layout that's got bulleted lists on them are all using these little blue triangles. You know what? I want to do something else. So I'm going to click here and let's change it. Where's my bullets? Right there. And let's just change it to a circle. All right. Now, if I look down, look at that. They're all circles. Oh, we got a question from Sue. So if you only want to change something on one slide, would you do it on the end of? Well, right. And that depends. Yeah, if you only want a certain layout to change, right. Yeah, that's exactly right, Sue. If you only want certain layout masters to change, you would just change those. taking that a step further, if you don't want to change all the slides that use that layout, you would just go to the regular presentation and change it. Okay. And I'll show you more about that in a second. Question: why didn't the second slide color change? That's an interesting question, Fran, because this element is different than this one. You think they're the same, but this placeholder is a little different than this one. So yeah, that does happen. Because there's different types of these placeholders. So in that case, I'm like, yeah, very good eye in seeing that you'll notice that this did not change, but here it did, and the others it did. And that's in all how it was created. So sometimes you do have to do double the work. Unfortunately, that's just kind of how it is, but the cascading nature of it does eliminate a lot of that work. Sue, coming back to your question, what we really are trying to avoid here, let me undo a couple of things, is people tend to do this in their presentations, and they get into a rut. Is they're like, well, I really like this layout, but I don't like that this is blue. So they start coming in here and they start changing all these individually. Okay, they'll start coming in here and doing this one by one. Now, if this was only a 3-slide presentation, that's not a big deal. But if I had 100 slides and I was doing that slide by slide by slide by slide, that's a lot of work. And furthermore, if I went through and changed them all to red manually, and then later on I'm like, ugh, I'd rather it be green, I'd have to go slide by slide by slide by slide by slide to change that. All right, let me go back to my slide master. View, slide master. So again, let me go here and let's change this from, let's go from that blue, let's pick yet a different color this time. Let's go with green. Now let's go to the red, it's easier to see. All right. Now I'll change it here. The layout, oops, I'm sorry, that was the wrong one. Yeah, pay attention. Sometimes when you go into, and I just fell into my own trap. Sometimes when you go into the master view here, you're not on the top slide. You gotta watch closely. Sometimes when you go in here, let me do this again. When I go view slide master, it doesn't always, make sure you've scrolled up and you're on the topmost slide, because sometimes it puts you on the layout master, not the slide master. So I was like, what the heck? Why didn't that do what it was supposed to? All right, let's change this all to red. Now, when I've changed it on the master, now when I come back and go out of the master view, notice it's already changed in the presentation. Okay? One pitfall of this. Let me change this to green. If you've already manually changed something and then you go to the slide master and change, so let's change this from, top slide. Let's highlight that. Let's go with purple. Okay. All right. Now, I've changed it on the master to purple, but watch this. When I come back, notice that the welcome to class slide is purple, but notice the this is a picture one is still green. And the problem here is that I manually formatted that already. And when you change a master, anything that you've manually formatted is not going to change. Now that's then a dead giveaway that there's something wrong here. So I'd need to go through and fix it all manually. So here's my advice. Do as much of this finagling and changing as you can ahead of time, and try to always change it in the master, not on individual slides. Because if you're trying to change individual slides, if you make an update to the master later, the individual slide's not going to change. Now, that could be what you want. Maybe on this slide, I need it to be green. Okay? You're more than welcome to format it manually and say, you know what, this one needs to be green and the rest of them all need to be blue. Okay, but just realize once you've manually formatted something, changes to the master aren't going to change the other things in the presentation. Same thing, not only with colors, but again, let me go back to bullets. I was doing that earlier. Okay, let's go back to view, slide master. Let me go to the topmost slide here. These are all using these triangles. All right, let me change all of them real quick. Instead of triangles, if I want a shape that's not listed here, I can just go into bullets and numbering. Let's see here. Let's go to, nope, I don't want pictures. I want customized. There we go. Let me pick a totally different shape from the wingdings. You can use any font set. Oh, that's wingdings 3. I'm looking for regular wingdings. Let's make these all, I don't know, diamonds. There we go. There. Now they've all changed to diamonds. So now it's all changed on the layout masters below. And if I go out to my presentation here, notice now all of these are now diamonds. Okay. So let me go back to here. Changing anything on the slide master will be reflected on all layout masters and all slides. Okay. That's just the slide master. We're going to do layout masters next. Okay, which kind of complicates the situation a little bit, but sometimes that's what you want. All right, and let's make this to conform what we were doing. Now, what do I want to do next? Okay, now, oh, I know what I want to do. All right, let me get another slide that has a bulleted list, but a different layout. There, I want this. All right, comparison list, and we're going to click to add text. Notice these are diamonds now. We're just going to go item, item, item. I want to keep these simple, but I need to show you something about layout masters. Okay, now the slide master for all the slides in the presentation is now saying that headings are all going to be this purple. Yeah, just a minute, Fran. And that all the bullets are going to be diamonds. Let me see here. Can you go over footers and page numbers also? In what sense? What's your question? Like how to change them or add them? Add them. That's pretty easy. In PowerPoint now, where is that located? It's on the Insert tab. And if you just go here, it's now in this thing here called Header and Footer, and that's just going to bring up the box to add that information. Yep, that's all you got to do for that. So I'd fill in, I'd check off, do I want a date and time? Do I want a slide number? What footer do I want? And then I can either apply it to a single slide or apply it to all. Okay. All right, let me get through layout masters. I know that was quick, but if that wasn't enough, just let me know. All right, now let's talk about layout masters. Let me go back to my master view. So the slide master is telling me that all the slides in this presentation should be using purple headings and blue diamonds. I feel like Lucky Charms here, right? Blue diamonds, green horseshoes. Now, where is this the one that I used? I gotta make sure I pick the right one. Is this the one? Yes, okay. Now, on this layout, okay, I'm using this layout in my presentation. This is a specific layout. Maybe I want to change just this layout. I don't want to change all of the slides on my presentation, but maybe whenever I use this particular layout, I want this one to look different. So on this layout, I'm going to change the master title style from purple to, let's go with orange. And I'm going to change the bullet colors here too. Let's go to bullets and numbering, and we'll change that to orange. And we're going to change this to orange. Okay. Oh, I didn't want to change the text. Made a mistake. Highlight that. Bullets and numbering. Sorry, I'm doing this kind of quickly, but once you practice it, you'll get the hang of it. Okay. So in this case, I've edited or changed just the layout master, not the slide master. So any slides that use this layout are going to look different. Now watch. I'm going to go out of my slide master view into the presentation and look here. The welcome to class slide still has that modified purple header and the modified blue diamonds. But this slide, because it uses a different layout, has orange diamonds and an orange heading up top. And now if I use that, if I do a new slide with that one, this one happens to be called comparison. Look, it's got orange diamonds and orange headings. But if I put in a regular title and content slide, look, this one's still purple and blue diamonds. Okay, so to review, first off, how did I get there? I know I went fast. Under the View tab, Slide Master. When we're looking at the Slide Master in this left-hand panel over here, you're looking at two things. You're looking at a Slide Master, which is the top slide, And then underneath that, you're looking at layout masters. Anything that you do to the slide master, that topmost slide, anything you format or change on the slide master, its changes will cascade down to all of the layout masters and consequently all of the slides in your presentation. Okay, because it's the master. If, however, in looking at these list of slides, these masters, if you just change one of the layout masters, that's only going to, first off, yeah, that'll change the layout, but it's also only going to affect any slide in your presentation where you happened to have used that layout or use it in the future. The more you can change and do on the layouts masters and the slide masters, the better. Okay, the less manual formatting and individual formatting that you do on slides, the better off you are. Because if you do that, you know, what can essentially happen in a large presentation is you're like, okay, well, I'm only going to use this slide once or twice, this layout once or twice, and so you manually format it. The problem is that if you use that layout again and forget that in one case you used green and now you're using blue, you know, they look inconsistent. The other thing I want to show you with these slide masters, let's go back here, is if you need to add a company logo. All right. Again, if you need to add a graphic or a logo to all of the slides in your presentation, maybe your company logo or something, and you want it to appear on all slides, do not paste it on every slide in the presentation. Again, that's a lot of work and it's too much effort. So I'm just going to go, again, anything you do on the master slide shows up everywhere in the presentation. So I'm just going to do insert picture. And you know what? I'm just going to pick my Tron logo again here because it's easy to get to. All right, this is going to be really huge. Let me size that down. All right. And I'm just going to stick this over in the corner over here. Okay. Now, look at this. I've added it to the slide master. Notice it's on all the other layout masters where that's being used. Yes, somebody with a keen eye will notice that this one does not have it. If you actually really look at this second slide, it's the background graphics are actually different. I don't have time to go into the details of all of what's going on there. But let me show you this, is that now when I close the master view, pretty much every slide except the title slide in my presentation has that graphic on it. So I don't need to add it one by one. Okay. The reverse could, or this, you could have also, if you only need that graphic on certain layouts, again, you could add it on the layout master and not on the overall slide master. So when it comes to these masters, okay, I've gone through all this stuff here. Layout masters are the layouts, basic set of 9, create more. Anything changed in the layout master will be updated, change any slide. As mentioned before, consistent layout, don't freeform. Okay, so my overall advice as you're designing your presentations, the more you color inside the lines, the better you are. It's really the deal here. Nothing frustrates me more than seeing a very disorganized presentation where people just try to freeform it too much and it just looks sloppy. Take the extra time to design it properly. And, you know, as Alton Brown says, your patience will be rewarded. Your extra work will be rewarded as you create that presentation. Okay, so to also review, what are my starting points? I can do a blank presentation, I can use a theme, or I can use a template. I'm a big fan of the themes. I like those. By the way, if you've been going along here, and this is also, if I had a lot more time, the really cool thing about theming is that if you decide you don't like a theme, I can change the theme that's being used and the whole presentation updates automatically and I don't lose the content. Look at this, the entire presentation. Now, of course, some of the other customizations I did are lost, not all of them, but some. But all the content is still there simply by me picking a different theme. I love this one. This one's called Main Event. Okay, so that's theming. Okay, well, our hour is up. I could probably go on and on and on about this. Let me paste some other information in again on the chat window for folks, just so you have it. You should still see the OneDrive link. And let me copy and paste this into here. The big thing I really need everybody to do is after, at some point, either after this class or tonight or tomorrow, if you would click that link, and I'll post this on the Facebook invite as well. If you would go to that survey link that I've posted, it's on a site called Metrics That Matter, and fill out that survey. You will not be added to any email list or spam list or anything like that. I would really appreciate you taking time to do those surveys. This is really a big part of my Microsoft certification, is I need these surveys to show that, hey, you're a good trainer. So please take a few minutes to fill out that survey. I would really appreciate that. Again, don't forget there's a link there to my OneDrive where you can download the materials for tonight. I know I didn't go through it page by page, but pretty much everything I talked about is in there. You can also download a catalog of the PowerPoint design themes that you have in Office, as well as then there's also all those extra design themes if you wanna have a lot more options. If you've got some suggestions for future classes, please drop me a note. Either send me a message on Facebook, email me. Again, the other class this week is OneNote. I'm probably going to do 1 or 2 classes next week, and I'll send those invites out this coming Friday. Haven't decided how many sessions I want to do, but certainly I would love to hear your suggestions of things to do, because I'm all about addressing your needs and what you guys would like to hear in Microsoft Office. So I'm not going anywhere. Our hour is up, but I'm going to stick around here. If you've got some questions, feel free to go ahead and type them in the chat window. I'll be more than happy to answer those. If you need to get going, thank you very much. Appreciate your attendance. Appreciate you taking some time to fill out the survey. And I hope to see you at Thursday's class, where we talk about OneNote, which is one of my most favorite pieces of Microsoft software that people aren't using. Okay. So again, if you got any questions, feel free to type them in the chat window. Otherwise, enjoy the rest of your evening and your Valentine's Day, and I hope to see y'all guys at a future session.